There are many causes of traffic jams. So let us count the ways. I'm one of those people that hates and ignores traffic reports. I've always done that because I've noticed at the granular level, anytime somebody tries to tell you how to avoid a traffic jam, all they've done is move the traffic jam from over here to over there. For example, when you're driving on a highway, if you were driving right now on a highway and you see that there's a fork in the road and they're both leading to the same place, you could either take the eastern side or the western side, but you're going to where you're going, and it gives you an update on the side that says there's a delay on the left side, just point A, east, whatever the east side is or the west side is. It tells you there's a delay on that side. So you and all the people behind you see the same sign. And what are they going to do when they see that the left side, there's a 10-minute delay or whatever number minute delay? Well, a lot of them are going to say, well, thanks for the sign. Now I'm going to go to the other side. Now essentially routing a whole bunch of cars to the other side. Cars that otherwise would have taken 50-50 going one or the other. So now they've essentially shifted the traffic jam from one side to the other. Almost. But then if you were in that circumstance, would you be the type of person who would then say to yourself, well, let's think about it. There's a 10-minute delay on this side, and I think most of the people behind me are going to go right now and take the other side. Okay, now if you knew that a bunch of people were doing that and you're the clever type, maybe you'd start saying to myself, well, I'm going to do the opposite, because I bet you within 10 minutes everybody's going to go to the right side, making the left side real great. So I'm going to go to the left side. I mean, I see it all the time on the New Jersey Turnpike. They'll have like an on-ramp where there's a car side and a truck side, and they'll say roadway congested. And then what happens? Inevitably, more people are going on the side that says congested, because they figure, well, at this point, everybody's going to go to the other side, and they're second guessing it. Now you're doing this in real time as you're driving. Well, let's just say instead of you just seeing the sign, making that 50-50 call, you're listening to the traffic report on the radio. And they say the same thing. Well, take the eastern side, the western side is heavy. Well, at that moment, there's a huge audience of people who have heard this traffic report. Why? Because if they've got the AM radio on, or if there are a lot of radio stations on, every 10 minutes, they're telling people about the traffic jam on the left side versus the right side. So that, again, creates that scenario, even if they don't have the digital signs telling you that one side's congested and what's not. And to complicate things even more, now we have Waze. Waze is a phenomenon. It's a very popular app, and everybody gets on it and they use it and they say, you know what? Waze just told me I saved 15 minutes by going this way instead of that way, or that way instead of this way. But in reality, there are so many people using Waze that when it comes to finding alternate routes, they have just basically, they're acting like, I guess, sheepdogs herding the cows, or border collies herding the cows towards whatever direction they want. So the entire crowd essentially moves one way or the other because Waze is telling them to do it. I've seen people take, for example, a totally alternate route because they say, oh, if I go this way, it's going to create a problem. And then they get somewhere else, and the problem is probably even bigger than it was before. So at the end of the day, when it comes to my own travel decisions, I like to just stay and just follow my existing routes every single time. I know that makes me sound like a robot, but for what it's worth, 99% of the time, I do fine. I rarely hit major traffic jams that drive me crazy. And then for what it's worth, there's really nowhere to go. I mean, it's like, oh, thanks for telling me. Now, am I going to just get off the highway and try to work myself down all these extra streets because this computer tells me that that's where the traffic is? Well, again, they've just routed so many people over to do that. It just destroys the whole thing. So for what it's worth, I ignore traffic reports, and I certainly am not going to have Waze or any other GPS try to tell me it's got a better route, because most of the time, you end up in the same boat. And that's today's idea of the day. All right, there it is. That's today's idea of the day. Some of them are pretty good, right? And some of them suck, I admit. First to admit, some of my ideas suck. But if you visit Idea of the Day every day and you subscribe to my channel by looking at the subscribe link in the corner, you'll see a brand new idea every single day. And I promise you, some of them don't suck.